job titles. uh, the jobs with the big salaries, all of the things. So I'm going to give you 3 strategies. Let me pin this comment. And we're going to get started because I'm live on YouTube and I'm live on Instagram. So let's get started. I first want to ask the question, have you ever saw a job and you're like, oh, I can't apply for that. I don't meet the qualifications for that job. It could have either been because the job title was like large and it sounded like, oh, that requires a lot of experience, or oh, that is doing something that I've never done before. Or maybe you looked at a job post before and you saw that the salary was huge. And you're like, oh, $200,000, $100,000. I don't have the necessary experience to do such and such, right? Whatever the thing may be. Today, I want to share with you 3 ways to build your career confidence to start hitting apply on what we like to call inside of the micro to macro career accelerator, scary jobs. So as you come into the room, I'm just doing some tech stuff on my end to make certain it's working on YouTube. You can either join in on this conversation on Instagram or click the link in my bio to visit on YouTube. But we're going to jump right into these 3 strategies that I want to share with you all. And the first thing that I want to say is that the majority of your career confidence comes from really understanding what experience you have that makes you valuable to macro employers, right? And so that requires some one-on-one career coaching. That requires you working with me to really understand what have you done in your paid jobs, your unpaid experiences, be it your practicums, your internships, your volunteer opportunities. So a lot of my coaching clients really get an increase in their career confidence when they see on paper what they have done and how that is what that looks like in a macro job when it comes to job postings and meeting the qualifications. But for the sake of today, I'm going to give you 3 strategies that anybody can use, regardless of your background, regardless of where you are in your career, to start working on building your career confidence. Hey, as you come into the room, drop in the chat. Have you ever saw a job post and you're like, I really would like to apply? Well, let's go back. You saw the job post and you're like, ooh, that job title sounds real like high level, or that salary is huge. I can't do the thing. And then you didn't even apply, you didn't even click at it to look at it. You just assumed that you didn't apply, didn't qualify. If that was you, that most likely is a sign that you need to work on your career confidence. So I'm going to share 3 strategies today for you to be able to use to work on boosting your career confidence, regardless of where you are in your career. So let's jump into it. The first strategy is you need to start practicing sharing your thoughts and your ideas out loud in work team meetings, right? So like how when you work in case management, you all have your team meetings. You have maybe you have all staff meetings or organizational wide meetings where it's like quarterly or maybe twice a year or something like that. You need to get into the practice of sharing your thoughts and ideas. When conversations are being had about XYZ, whatever the thing is, and you are like, maybe you don't, maybe you have like a clarifying question. Maybe you have a different thought or an idea, or like an idea about a different approach. This is the opportunity for you to start working on building your confidence by asking the questions in a place where you already know the people. See, the problem is a lot of social workers that I met since 2020 struggle with their career confidence, and they feel, even though they know it's an issue in their current job, they feel like a new job will be like the cure all for the thing. When in essence, you have to start building the skill, practicing to increase your career confidence. And it takes a while. All right. So my suggestion is start where you are. Start with the people that you know. Start in the job that you already have instead of waiting for the perfect interview, the perfect job to come, and then thinking you're going to like magically become this super confident person. It takes practice. And the more you practice, I know it's cliche, but it's so true. The more you practice, the better you get at a thing. Hey, how y'all doing on Instagram? I'm also on YouTube. So if you see me looking up and down, I see people on YouTube. I love it. If you see me looking up and down, it's because I'm trying to make eye contact with both of y'all. But the first thing I want you to do is, and make certain you're writing this down. These are real strategies that work. They're strategies that worked for me in making my transition from case management work. And I've told you all over and over again about how I was and where I was confidence-wise before my first macro job after years of working in call centers. So start sharing your thoughts and ideas. If something is being proposed, again, if you're not clear on something, ask the question. The biggest problem I see with people who are like in professional roles and positions, they like to pretend like they know everything when you don't, right? So I have been in professional and educational settings where very high-ranking people refuse to ask clarifying questions and to admit that they don't know. So I've been in meetings where people sit in a meeting and the whole time they're nodding their head, and I'm the only one that asks the question. And then once we leave the meeting, oh, I'm so glad you asked that question because I really didn't understand what they were saying. Or they come and ask me or someone else for clarification one-on-one after the fact. I want y'all to get comfortable with not knowing everything. I think that's the biggest problem. And I think that's why we have so many issues that we have just as professionals out in the world. Everyone wants to pretend like they know everything, which then also could lead to your diminishment of like career confidence because you think that you have to show up perfect because everyone else is pretending to show up perfect. But I'm going to tell y'all, they are not perfect. They are humans just like y'all. And what really sets you apart is your willingness to make it known that you are being you and that you are not afraid to ask questions. It actually showcases your ability to think strategically. Many of you all have very great questions, ideas, approaches, but you don't share it because you're either in fear that it won't come out perfect, you're in fear that you will be judged, you're in fear of whatever your thing is. And I'm talking about in the social service, nonprofit settings, right where you are. But in order to become the macro social worker that you dream of, you need to start practicing in those spaces. Because if you can't share your thoughts and opinions with the practitioners, the other case managers, the people on your level, how are you going to do that with key decision makers, political leaders, CEOs of hospital healthcare systems, national hospital systems? If you can't share it with the case manager next to you in the cubicle next door, you're not going to be able to do that with the key decision makers. It doesn't happen overnight. So I want you all to start practicing where you are. Okay, I see in the Instagram live today. I love it. Yesterday, y'all were real reserved. Y'all waited a while to engage, but Instagram school says yes, they do. I love it. That's me. I always ask questions. I always ask the questions, exclamation point. I love that. If you're on YouTube, drop in the chat. The question I asked was, what I led into was, have you ever saw a job and was like, oh no, I can't apply to that job just by looking at the job title or the salary? We call those scary jobs. My group career coaching program, we call those scary jobs. I challenge everybody to apply to at least one scary job a week, where you look at the job and you instantly, without even opening it, determine, oh no, I can't do that. I don't qualify for that. That is a sign that you're confident. You need to work on your confidence. And so I'm sharing some strategies. So the first strategy is start sharing out in meetings. Start sharing out in meetings. The second strategy is write down and reflect on what you do each month. Okay. And the purpose of this is so you can start seeing in black and white for yourself about what you are qualified to do and what you are not qualified to do. Many of you are trying to rely on this. We know in case management work, our brains are overworked. We are pushed beyond our limits. You got to think about your life, your own family's lives, and then the 30 to 100. I've heard some people had 200 plus caseloads. The 30 to 200 plus other people's lives who is on your caseload. You cannot hold all of that in this one brain. It's impossible. I know they make y'all feel like you are superhuman. You are not a superhuman. You are a regular human. So I want you all to start getting in the practice of writing down each month what you have done. So you can look back at it and reflect on, wow, I've done XYZ. Oh, wow, I led that committee. Oh, okay, yeah. And I'm not talking about managing caseload stuff. Like if you have listened to me for 5 minutes or more, you all know I'm not talking about managing caseload type activities. I want you all to start writing down what you've done, right? Because that helps with your confidence when you can look back at it and see, oh, okay, I led a meeting in March. I led a team meeting in April. February, I wrote a newsletter. I led a workshop or webinar, whatever the thing is. Because you do so much as case managers, you lose track of what you've done. And then at a certain point, because I hear this from my coaching clients all the time, at a certain point, you start downplaying the things that you do because you are doing so much. You forget the great things because it's not enough time to celebrate it because you got to move on to the next thing. Someone needs a bus pass. Someone needs their documents sent over to the VA hospital, whatever your thing is, wherever you work. I don't know. But I want you all to start writing it down and looking back at it. Again, these are not strategies I pulled out of the air. I didn't read it in a book. Nobody told me about the thing. These are things I did as a case manager. I wrote down every week. I did it actually when I was working in call centers because I'm just that serious about my money. I wrote down every week what I did. What were my outcomes? What were my results? What were my achievements? That way I was clear on what I did, which then helps you, your internal confidence, because you're like, wow, I did that. Prime example, Monet, she's a Micro to Macro Career Accelerator alum. She's been on the live. She's on a YouTube video. For those on YouTube that's watching this live right now, you can go and watch her share her experience of working with me to get her macro job as a philanthropic officer, where she now is over a state of California fund to fund youth development programming in her state because she's passionate about youth and sports programming. So she's funding organizations on the local level to do that type of work. And I think the funds she helps manage is a couple of $100 million. But anyway, Monet, when she was working with me to get a better when I was helping her uncover what experience she had that could get her a macro job, she casually said, it was 30 minutes into the resume intensive. I said, have you ever fundraised? Right? Because you all don't realize the magnitude of what you've done. That's why I'm saying you need to write it down. I said, have you ever fundraised? She's like, yeah, it was this time that I raised $2.5 million for my social service organization. And she said it so casually, so like, oh, yeah, it was just a thing. I said, you raised $2.5 million for your social. I said, were you in charge of the team? She was like, yeah. She led the fundraising team and brought in $2.5 million for her social service organization. And she was working as a social service supervisor. I said, Monet, that is the experience that we need to market to get you a job in philanthropy. You clearly understand the strategies, the techniques, what it takes to bring in large amounts of money. And I'm not talking about $20,000, $30,000 like the budget you all are managing in your like program. This is $2.5 million. She led the team. She brought it in. It was all because of her work, her idea, the strategy she put in place. So we use that experience strategically to get her a job as a philanthropic officer. She's gone on to secure fellowships and all of the things. She's top in her field now in philanthropy. But that came from me having her write down all and identify all of the things she's done in her work history. And I name that as an example, but for you all, for the sake of this conversation today, this is how you build your confidence. So me explaining to her and showing her in black and white, okay, this is where you've done this on the social service level. Let's look at this job post that I taught you to find, and look, this is where this is this. Like, they're requiring people who understands the strategies and techniques for fundraising, for managing fundraising funds, and identifying ways to spend the money, blah, 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 right? And again, this comes from one-on-one work. This is nothing I can talk to you all in a very generic way to help you identify it. It comes from very strategic work. She first spent months getting clarity around what she wanted to do, what population she wanted her work to focus on, how she wanted her work to look on a daily basis. If you weren't on the live from yesterday, I encourage you to go back and watch the replay. I went in great detail about vetting your employers and what it should be based on other than a salary in a remote job. And in that, I talk a lot about career clarity. What are your career goals? So with Monet, I helped her identify to get clarity around what she wanted to do, how she wanted her work to look, who she wanted her work to support, what her career goals were, short-term and long-term, over and beyond just an increase in her salary, right? What outcomes she wanted to achieve. What was the career legacy she wanted to leave when she moved from organization to organization? These are all of the things I teach people. But for you right now, where you are, you need to be writing down the work you do each month. So you can start looking at it, so you can give yourself the internal career confidence boost that you need to say, wow, I thought I did nothing. I really am doing a lot. Because it's somebody on this live right now between YouTube and Instagram who honestly thinks they don't do anything. I know I see some people on here that's my micro to macro career accelerator. They know the biggest thing that I can't stand is when I ask somebody, have you ever done something? They quick to say no. My people know we don't say no. They don't say no. And there's one person on here right now. She knows. Don't say no back to me. My response is, please stop and think about it for a moment. You know how to identify transferable experiences now. Let's stop for a moment and think about it. But for many of you, if I asked you right now, based on your career goals, your career clarity work, what you've identified that you wanted to do, if I said, have you ever done XYZ, 90% of you all will say no. That will be your immediate response. And that comes from not really understanding what you've done in a month. So I want you all to start tracking it. Write it down. Email it to yourself. I don't care what you need to do. Put it in your notes app. Do something to get yourself a win. Okay, Kim says me, LOL. Yes, Kim. Don't do that, Kim. Let's write it down and let's start tracking it. Vonica, this is so helpful because I never know what I be doing and I do a lot. Y'all, yes. And what I tell my people is that case management jobs are bad. Yes, we know they overwork you, they underpay you, they undervalue, all of the things you all say. But if you have a plan for your career and solid career clarity, case management jobs are a gold mine to get the experience you need to flip it to get the dream job you want. You just don't know what experience you need, what experience you already have, and it's because you haven't done the fundamental work before. And I broke down all of that yesterday. Go back and watch the replay. But this is why I'm having career strategy sessions available this week, because if you need help identifying what have you done, what can you position to market to employers, if you need help with career clarity, because a lot of people just walk around saying, I want to do policy, or I want to work on mental health, or their job search strategy is they only look for and apply for jobs that say social worker, MSW degree in the job title or in the requirements, that you're not doing it right. Right? You got to get the clarity first. You have to understand what job opportunities in the job market align with what you want, because most likely when it comes to macro work, not most likely all of the time, none of my people have ever gotten a macro job where anywhere in the job description said we're looking for a social worker or it's required a MSW degree, because I teach them how to find, because macro work is not just done by social workers, it's done by all professions. So I teach my people how to go into other spaces and to get jobs where, even though it doesn't have your degree type listed in it, you still have the experience. And I'm going to teach you how you have it and how you position yourself on paper and how you market yourself in an interview. Okay, so I spend a lot of time on that. I love it. Instagram over here engages. YouTube yesterday, y'all were the lively ones. I don't see no comments in the chat, but drop a comment. Tell me your thoughts. So strategy number 3 to build your career confidence right where you are right now, start telling people what you do over and beyond, I'm just a social worker. Start telling the people. Again, it's all about practice. You want to refine over time the way you explain what you do. This builds your confidence, right? Again, and all of this is stackable. You first need to write down what you do to understand. You need to first have career clarity and to understand what is of interest to you, what is your goal, and then that helps you better explain to the people. But because I'm speaking to the full group today, you need to start writing down what you do so you can better explain it to others. Right? The more you talk about a thing, the more comfortable you get in it, the more your confidence builds. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you're an introverted person, if you're a person where your voice kind of stumbles, or if you're in a Zoom meeting, you share, and I'm not picking on nobody. These are all things I used to do, right? But I've worked on my confidence internally and externally. So if you're the type of person where you're on the Zoom meeting and you say your response so fast and you hit the mute button before your last word is out because you're just like, oh gosh, I'm glad I'm done talking. Nobody is looking at me anymore. You need to work on your confidence, because when you are moving into macro jobs, you will be the center of attention. Those are for my people on the front facing. Now there's macro jobs where you can be behind the scenes. But if either way, you still have to go in an interview and sell yourself. So if you're the type of person where you're stumbling over words or you get real nervous, like for me, my nose sweats. And it's not nervous, it's just a thing that I do. I do it even when I'm by myself. But like whatever your theme may be, maybe your palms sweat, you start stuttering, your voice starts crackling, whatever the thing may be, you need to practice more. So I want you all to start practicing telling people what you do. And again, start while you are in safe environments. Start with your family and friends. Start with your partner. Start with your coworkers. Start with your favorite, your work bestie. Just start practicing with the people. You can start sharing with your pets. I don't care who it is. But I want you all to start practicing, because the purpose of that activity is for you to hear what you do, for you to hear out loud what you do. Someone just said on Instagram, they do so much, they don't even know what they are doing every month. So the writing down is for you to see it in black and white. But then when you're telling people what you do, it's for you to hear it. Because over time, you're going to start believing it. Because even when I show people in black and white what they've done in the past and what they can use to get a macro job and where it lines up in a macro job requirement and how to interpret that, how to translate it, whatever the word is you want to use, some people still don't believe it. So then I have them do activities to work on their internal confidence. So this is an activity. I want you to start practice telling the people what you do, talking about your work. And if you are the type of person that says, oh, no, I can't do that, that's bragging, you are going to be struggling your whole career. Because if you follow my page, that means that you have aspirations of doing something bigger and making a much larger impact regarding something. You're going to have to get out of that mindset. It's not bragging. It's marketing yourself, right? Like, listen, I can give you some examples. People in those positions who you all like admire the most and you hold in high regard and like, oh yeah, their career goals. You're liking their post on LinkedIn, you're cheering them on in the comments. What are they doing for you to even know about their work? They're marketing themselves. They're talking about it publicly. They're letting people know about what they do. If not, you wouldn't even knew they existed. They're being written up in articles. They're being interviewed. They're talking about their work. So you have to shift from that thinking of, oh, I can't talk about my thing. That's wrong. That's not being humble. You're going to get left behind. And that's a part of the confidence thing. I'm giving y'all some surface level activities, but really confidence is my code word for mindset work. I just call it confidence so y'all don't get deterred, but it's all mindset work. So I want you to get comfortable with marketing yourself. And in order to do that, you have to understand how to explain to people what you do, especially for my clinical social workers. I love y'all. We need you all. You do phenomenal work, but you all talk like you are a walking DSM manual. Is it a manual or a guide? I should know those things. You all talk so clinical that only clinicians can understand what you're saying. So for you all, you have to work really hard, especially if you're wanting to transition out of those types of work settings. You're going to have to work really hard to speak plain language. And this is something I teach all of my career coaching clients, how to speak plainly, because when it comes to your resume, when it comes to your application, usually the first person screening those things over and beyond the computer system is like an admin person, an HR person. They are not an expert on your respective area, even if your goal is to get a macro job in mental health. They don't specialize in that. So you have to write your marketing materials. You may even have to explain to them your experience, especially if you're going through like a pre-screening process. You have to explain that in a plain language way that they can understand. But if you're talking like a DSM, they're not going to understand that. And that takes practice. That is the hardest thing that I see for some social workers, learning to like speak two languages. And again, even on the macro level, you have to learn how to speak that way as well, because the primary role of someone that does national, international work is to educate people to get buy-in to whatever the cause is that you're working to address. And so that means that you're talking to people outside of your profession. You're talking to key decision makers. You're talking to school superintendents, secretary of Department of Education for my school social workers, whoever the thing is, whatever your thing is. And it doesn't mean that they have clinical backgrounds. So I want you all to start telling people what you do and get comfortable and refine your messaging over time. And over time, what will happen is you will get more and more comfortable with, and you will get more and more confident about your ability to do work over and beyond where you currently are, because you're doing these steps. So I gave you 3 ways. I want you to start sharing your thoughts and ideas in work team meetings. I want you to write down and reflect on what you do each month. If you need help on identifying what you've done in the month and how that qualifies you for a macro job, schedule a one-on-one career strategy session. For YouTube, the link, I'll put it down in the comment box. Strategy number 3, I want you all to, I already have it down in the comment box. I want you all to start sharing out loud what you do for a profession, like what your work is, what it centers on, where all of the things. I want you to start stretching yourself beyond just saying, I'm a social worker, I'm a clinical social worker, I'm a therapist, I'm a medical social worker. I want you to start telling the people, and I'm gonna be real honest, because at this point I've career coached probably over 500 social workers at this point, be it in workshops, one-on-ones, and my full group career coaching program. Many of you don't even understand what you do other than like what you're doing. Like, does that make sense? Like, you don't understand the why behind your work, which makes it hard for you to explain it to people. So that's why I said for step 2, I need for you to start tracking what you do, because at some point it will connect the dots for you later. Hopefully you come through a career strategy session or into my program and I can teach you how to uncover these things based on your individual situation. But for the basics, at some point it will start firing off connections between what you do, why you do it, and how it connects to much larger systemic issues. Okay, so drop in the chat. I see YouTube is going strong. I love it. Y'all are in the building talking about your career. I love it. And you should be spending 1 hour a day talking about your career, working on your career, applying to a job, doing something. We're going to shift. We need to be shifting from being reactive to proactive in your career. And the analogy I gave yesterday is it's the equivalent of my mental health social workers. You cannot cure, or not cure, you cannot address someone's trauma for the past 15 years in one 30-minute session. That's impossible, right? You also know from a preventative lens or like a prevention focused lens, there were things that needed to occur in someone's life to maybe minimize what they're going through now. Right. And then even to address the trauma that they have, it takes years, it takes many sessions. And I'm giving that analogy because when it comes to your career, you all think that one session, one 30-minute session is going to be the fix to everything. And it's not. There's preventative things you should have done. There's foundational work you should have been done starting in middle school. I'm not going to jump on my workforce development box today. I did that yesterday. But you should have started getting conversations in middle school about what you want to do in a career, which would have helped you over the years build your foundational skills to really learn how to navigate your career. But we ain't going to get into that. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one career strategy session, either get career clarity to help you identify what experiences you already have. Maybe you have an interview coming up. Maybe you want assistance with career planning. Maybe you are already a macro social worker and you want another macro job. Maybe you are struggling with translating your experiences to non-clinical, non-social work employers. Whatever your thing is, I have a limited time opportunity going on for one-on-one career strategy sessions for 60 minutes. I only have a few of them. A lot of people have already scheduled them. I released them on Friday. I had a lot of people schedule them for Saturday and yesterday. However, there are still some available. The price will go up Friday, but I want you all to start working on your career confidence. And so these strategies, they work if you do it, if you're not dismissive of it. But I really want you all to understand that it's a process and you have to start where you are right now. It's a process. You can't wait for the dream job to come along. You have to be prepared for it. You have to be preparing for it. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one career strategy session with me, the link is in for Instagram, the link is in my bio. For YouTube, is in the description box. Also, what else? There's also information in both of those links if you want to talk with me about joining my full group career coaching program. My full group career coaching program, you guaranteed to get a win. Oh, blah, I missed your comment. You retracted it. Are you going to retype it? But you're guaranteed to get a full win because it's a comprehensive group career coaching program. I teach you how to get career clarity based on your interests. That's the thing that I realized I should have said yesterday was a lot of social workers are chasing the career dreams of other people. Like someone told you you should do this, or maybe someone told you this is your only option, or someone said this is the only way to make good money, and you're now 5 years, 10 years deep into a career that you don't like and that you never wanted to do. So what I teach my career coaching clients is how to get clarity around what they want to do based on their passions, their interests, their goals for their career, the level of impact that they want to make in the world. If you're passionate about the arts, I'll use the better example. I met a social worker a few months ago. He's super passionate about financial literacy. He does it in his free time. He has groups where he teaches people about financial literacy. However, he's a hospital social worker. And my first words to him were, you are in complete misalignment, right? He's doing work that yeah, I'm sure he's good at it. I know he is. All of you all are really good at what you do, but it's not what he liked to do. It's not what he wanted to do. And so what happens is when you're in misalignment like that, that's when you all start getting these 5, 10, 20 different like volunteer commitments with different organizations, unpaid work. You're doing like education forums and workshops with the people in your community, in your elementary school, whatever the thing is, because you're trying to fill the void. But my approach is, I can help you get one job where you can do all of the things you really want to do and be paid well for it and be impacting change, instead of overextending yourself from your case management job, which is already, that takes all of the case management work takes all of your energy. I don't see how you have energy for anything else, but then you are volunteering for all of these things to try to feel fulfilled. And I'm like, we can blend all of those things and get you one job. So the example of the financial literacy, there are macro organizations that's doing national work on financial literacy. I'm like, I can teach you how to, I was excited. I want to work with him because I'm on a mission to get social workers, change makers into every industry and organization type and to address every issue under the sun. I already got one. She has a whole work history in banking and finance. And so she's interested in doing financial literacy work as well. But I'm like, we can get you a macro job. Banks do like banking institutions and all types of things. People do all types of national work on these issues. I tell people every issue you see on the front lines, there's a national or international organization working to address it. Right? So many of you, my point of saying that is many of you are in misalignment and you're trying to get it in other places of your life. But I just want you all to remember, you can get one job and do the work that you like. If you love the arts, if you love painting, if you love exposing children to the arts, exposing seniors to the arts, there's national jobs out there doing the thing, educating leaders about the importance of arts exposure and arts for students, SEL. I'm not a school social worker, but I just learned from the years of working with social workers. Whatever the thing is, we can blend it. That's what I specialize in. Music, movies, writing. If you like to do creative writing, there's national efforts on that. Getting under-resourced, underserved populations and communities into creative writing as a form of expression. And they're out there educating school district superintendents about the thing. To get programming in classrooms, to advocate for funding is way more than policy. That's the thing I teach my coaching clients, is way more than policy. Okay. Blah, blah, rewrote it again. Okay. I love you, Marthea. Thank you. Chasing the career dreams of other people. Yes, you hit it right on the head, Marthea. My instructor told me to go clinical because that's where the money is. They skewed my perception as a young teenager. And looking back now, I am realizing that the clinical route likely is not for me. We have to do the inner work, guys. It's not like, it's the process. Thank you for that. That's a great reflection. And it's true. And I'm not here pointing the finger at people. I'm here to be the voice, to be the reminder. I'm going to be in y'all ear. You can do other things because many of you are sitting on gold mines. That's what I call it, of experience. And you are really in a position, in a job now where you are not like maximizing all of that experience, knowledge, the things that you have. I told someone because I taught to other people other than social workers. I told them, I was like, I work with the next generation of leaders. It's several of my career coaching clients who went through the full group career coaching program who gone on to leadership roles. They never saw that as even a possibility as case managers. They were just case managers 2-3 years ago. They're now in senior executive leadership roles, and they never would have had that opportunity had they stayed in their social service organization. but they had the skills and experience, and they did not need another degree. They did not need licensure. They did not need years of leadership. All of my people, none of them had leadership experience, not executive level leadership. But you have to have clarity. You have to figure out what the goal is. Then you have to be taught how to transition into that based on the experience that you have. Okay, what y'all saying on Instagram? Oh boy, I'm definitely interested. I've been in CMH for 3 years and I want to transition to macro social work, feeling lost on where to even begin. Click the link in my bio. Schedule a get to know you chat. They're free. Come talk to me. A lot of y'all trying to figure out something on your own and you need a new set of eyes. You need some more experienced eyes on your team. Schedule a get to know you chat with me. I have them available all week. If you know you just need a strategy session, just schedule a one-time strategy session. But if you want to talk about coming into my full group career coaching program, schedule a get to know you chat. Either way, come talk to me. You trying to sit and figure it out on your own, it's not going to work because macro work is so elusive. So that's why I've been researching the thing and taking my years of experience of doing workforce development work and understanding how the job market works and blending that together to like define it for my people. You're not going to find it. And it doesn't come in the form of getting a what y'all like to get, a mentor, a macro social work mentor. A mentor will be great once you have the job. But if your mentor can't help get you the job, you need some other resources and tools, okay? This is good. I love it. Y'all are talking about your career. You need to be talking about your career at least 1 hour a day. Being proactive, building the muscle. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. I love that y'all were engaged today. I'm going to be back on tomorrow. I'll probably be back on earlier, but I'll send the email. All right. Happy macro career planning. Bye.